If you've ever felt like something is for you and part of you felt ready, but there was another part of you that was asking, what if? You felt nervous, you kind of knew it was a good next step, but you weren't sure about stepping into the unknown, this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Broken and Brave podcast. Today I have Cassie on here with me, and I am so excited for her to share her experience at Bravecation. Just a little context. Cassie, she owns her own business, and we met locally where I live as just two entrepreneurs doing our thing. And she owns Coach Cass Wellness, which is really about just longevity for women, specifically glute growth and functional glute growth, which, is exciting. But we've stayed in touch over the years, and we'll talk more about your journey. But I just wanted to share a little bit about who you are, and I'll turn it to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steph. And I've had the pleasure also of having Steph as a client of mine, and the amount of progress that she's made has been astounding. It's just been really impressive, and I've really enjoyed watching you commit to the work, as you would say.
Yes.
Just committing to a fitness routine and a nutrition routine. So it's been really inspiring to watch you
Thank
throughout that
you.
process as well. So I just wanted to say that as well.
Thank you. I want to share something that happened early on for me, and you'll remember this moment. So,
Yeah.
originally, I signed up to work with Cassie for 3 months. Is that right? And
Yeah.
we got to 3 months. I had done measurements and weighed in at the beginning and then at the 3 month mark. And when I did the measurements, I was quite literally pissed. I was like, this is not what I wanted. My legs are bigger. And then I came to you and I was just kind of, in a funk. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
that you said to me, trust the process. And
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, I paused and I asked myself, where else has this happened in my life? And of course, I have clients who have had this experience where after a short period of time, all their problems aren't solved, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell them to trust the process. And so what I did is I embodied what I ask other people to do. And I did. And I've kept going now for just over a year. And it's been incredible. Yeah.
Oh,
So thank
I'm
you.
so glad that you did trust the process. And I think that's a good example. You are a good example of that's how a lot of people stay stuck is they expect this immediate result.
Yep.
And that's just not how it works, unfortunately, unless you're taking GLP-1s. But
But I'm not.
no, but you're not.
Somebody did ask me if I was.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you said, yeah, you just have to trust the process and you have to get through that point, that sticking point where you're like, oh my gosh, I've done the work. Like I've started. Why am I not seeing anything? And
Mm-hmm.
you just have to push through
Mm-hmm.
and keep going. Then you will see results in the long term. But yeah, I'm so proud of you for sticking with it because that's the hardest part of it all.
Thank you so
It really
much.
is. It's not even like just lifting the heavy weights. You're like, okay,
Right.
this kind of sucks, but that's the part that keeps most people stuck, I feel like.
100%. Most people quit.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I wanted to
Hmm.
share that, and I'm glad that you brought it up
Yeah.
because anybody listening will be able to apply that somewhere in their life. And I'll say one other thing. On days where I had a lot of resistance, I just made it super, super easy. I told myself, you're going to lift weights for 5 minutes, Steph. And then that's all you
Hmm.
have to do. And there were some days that that's all I did. And then other days, it was almost an hour and it was fine.
Hmm. Yeah, it's more about the consistency, and then consistency is very different than being strict. You don't have to be strict to be consistent. Like, I feel like people think those are the same thing,
Mm.
but they're not. Like, you can be very flexible in your consistency. A lot of times, my beginning clients, I'll tell them, like, if you can get in like one workout in the
Yeah.
beginning, one workout, that's all I'm going to ask of you.
Yeah.
It's just those small steps to consistency. So like once you're used to doing one workout a week, then you can go to two workouts. It's about taking those small steps because if you go from here all the way up to here, that's a huge change and you're obviously your body's going to resist that and you are going to resist that because it's just too big of a change.
And that is literally all or nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And it's most likely to result in nothing after doing that. You use the word flexibility, and that for
Mhm.
me is something that we work on in Brave. Having a flexible nervous system, having a flexible perspective with your behavior and yourself. And so that ties in beautifully to doing the inner work. So I would love to hear more about your experience working together in general, but mostly for Bravecation. When you were considering signing up, was there like anything that you were skeptical of in terms of like the value before attending?
So, in general, I've had a ton of breakthroughs for myself and for my marital relationship. And before coming to Costa Rica, wasn't skeptical about the impact that I knew that you could make. And I was ready to do the work, but I was nervous about what it would look like, about if I would get along with the other women that also came, just like the comfortability of going. And I was like going kind of by myself. I wasn't with any of my friends or
Yeah.
anything. Like I knew you, which was nice, but I kind of had to step into fear a little bit
Yes.
and go beyond, just be like, okay, I'm going to do this. And you kept pushing me to go. And I think I was finally like, okay, I do really need this. Like I was at a point in my life where I was feeling kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I was ready to do the work.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the problems that were coming up for you before.
Yeah. So I have had a past of being very anxious
Mhm.
and like having to be on anxiety medications. Like it started happening during COVID when I was pregnant with my daughter. I couldn't sleep. I was literally like so anxious to the point where like it was debilitating my life. I didn't feel like a normal person. This was like back in 2020. So I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of context.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started like working out and that kind of like helped a little bit, but I don't feel like I fully resolved my issues until we started working together. I started doing breath work to regulate my nervous system.
Mhm.
And that's when I was able to take myself off medication. So I did the breath work with you and then I
Yeah.
did the 2-day retreat.
Yeah.
And I felt like those two things together really helped me. And then we did the academy together, which was great. And then I kind of fell off for a while. And then I was starting to feel anxious again.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I need another step
Boost.
intervention here. Yes. Yeah, I feel like just not letting myself feel my feelings was a huge part of like why I was having anxiety. I was also stuck in this shame cycle from something that happened in my past. So I had like a lot of self-loathing. I did not claim the self-respect that I was needing. And I felt like people pleasing was easier and I could avoid a lot of the confrontation that I needed to have.
Mm.
So that was a huge thing. I also got to ask myself what it is that I really wanted
Yeah.
because I was always doing what others wanted me to do.
And so many women fall into that pattern,
Yeah.
sometimes for their whole lives. You know, I'll work with women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they've been in that role. Now, we'll talk more about the details and some surprising things that happened while at Bravecation, but what changes have resulted for you?
So I think A big part of that was obviously the self-awareness part of it, trying to remember like, okay, so these were the steps like, so we were self-aware, like we went through our past during Bravecation and
Yeah.
kind of just recognizing where these patterns started was a
Yes.
good starting place to getting there. And obviously, like fitness, it's not just something that, okay, I've just overcome this already. Like it's something that I still have to work on all the time and be aware of. But I think that first step in being aware was really what helped me overcome a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there can be a little bit of resistance to looking at the past, but I will say, and you can tell me, I don't make it that painful. It's pretty, simple and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think seeing what other people are going through can also help too. And I think that's like what I love about the container that you have too, is just recognizing like, oh, even though somebody like looks this way on the outside, maybe they look like they have everything together. They are also struggling and recognizing how a lot of the anxiety is coming from fear.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
fear of speaking up. I was feeling like a lot of tightness in my throat before the bravecation, which I'm not feeling anymore. Thank you
Yay.
to Steph and to bravecation. But yeah, I just felt like so stuck, like I couldn't speak my mind, and I was fearful of opinions of others. Like if I spoke up about an opinion that I had, like
Yeah.
I just didn't want to hear, I didn't want any pushback. And I think that's where kind of acknowledging that helped a lot.
Can I ask a question about your throat? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so not everybody listening is going to recognize that things happening in their body are related to their emotions or fear. Some people are aware, but others are not. And I'm curious, I think I remember you saying you had gone to medical doctors and had checkups, or am I making this up related to your throat?
I considered it like something medical. It maybe was medical or something. I wasn't sure. I was like, am I sick or what's
Yeah.
going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's so common. I hear from many people in the community like, well, I've gone to this medical doctor, that medical doctor, which I'll never say don't do it. Like, yeah, have it checked. What's your takeaway? So it ended up being that you were holding your
Right. I was holding in what I needed to say, and I was getting a payoff for not saying things by, avoiding confrontation. And something that I learned in verification is like, okay, I need to go through the fear
yeah.
and just say what I need to say and stop avoiding it, because even though I'm getting this payoff in the long run, it's not doing any good for me
It's
because I
not
still have this
the
feeling in my
tightness.
throat, the tightness in my
In
throat.
your
Yeah.
throat, I think my perspective was your throat was like begging you, like, say something because then it resolved. And so
Hmm.
some people listening might be like, oh, okay, well, I need to say the thing. Well, that sounds terrifying. What's part of working together is learning how to have hard conversations. I
Yeah.
help people with that so that way it's not so scary. There might be some fear there, but it makes it a lot more simple to do.
Yeah. And I feel like having like academy and stuff is really nice because then you have a space where people can like hold you in a proverbial sense.
Yeah.
And that's really what you get in Bravecation as well, is like I felt so held by not only you, Steph, but by all of the women there.
Say more about that. Were you expecting that at all or no?
No, no, that's like one of the things that I was not expecting. And something that I got out of Bravecation that I was not expecting is these relationships with these other women that I don't think I would have seeked out a relationship with these women, because I think a lot of the times we see somebody and maybe they don't have the same interests as us or they don't look like us. And so we don't try to create that connection where you're with these girls, you're living with them, you're eating with them, and you get to know them from all of the work that we're doing, all of the inner work. And so then you get to know them on a deeper level and see them on a deeper level and really love them on a deeper level in a way. Like you build
Mhm.
these friendships that you never really would have expected, which was something that was really cool that I was not expecting. And you release this judgment that the world kind of like puts out there for you and, or not for you, but just, you know, I had this judgment and then it just kind of was
Dissipated.
gone. It
Yeah.
dissipated. Yeah.
Yeah. I talk about this often, and I think it's hard for people to imagine wait a second, I'm going to go not knowing anyone and I'm going to form deep connections. How? Well, if you think about trust, most people would say, oh, it takes a long time to build trust, but it only takes a long time to build trust because people are unwilling to be vulnerable. And
Mm.
from the first moment that you get there, I'm cultivating an environment where I'm encouraging and making it safe for everybody to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
And then there's so much
Mhm.
trust and deep connection. And it's just one of my favorite parts because it's something that I always wanted.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you're creating it
Yeah.
now. And I think that's beautiful. And when you see other people being vulnerable, because I remember when I first was working with you, and I feel like I've come pretty far as like the vulnerability
You have.
because I was a lot more closed off before. And once you like understand if I'm not vulnerable, I'm not going to really get anywhere, then you're kind of like more willing to just go there. Because if you're not going to go there, then you're just not accomplishing
What's
what
the
you
point?
want to accomplish. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to like ask yourself, what are you there for? And be willing to go there and to talk about it. Once you see other women being vulnerable, then you're like, okay, I can do it too. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I agree. What did you have in mind in terms of what you thought you would get from Bravecation versus what you actually did? Anything else?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the connections, but I think also the connection with myself. I think being alone with myself and like with my own thoughts, like I'm sure a lot of moms or women can resonate with this is just like being on the go all the time and so busy and you're constantly like making dinner and like we're always like distracting ourselves with things.
Mhm.
I felt like I didn't have a space where I could just sit with my own thoughts for like more than an hour or two. Like I wanted to be able to just be by myself, like get to know myself a little bit more. And I felt like I got to do that during the Bravecation. Like I discovered new parts of myself that I didn't even know were there. Got to play in the sand and I was like, dang, I remember like when I was a kid, I used to like fall asleep in the sandbox. And I discovered that I wanted to learn how to play piano. And I like listened to this piano song multiple times during the trip as I like walked down the beach in the morning. And it was just really beautiful to start to get to know myself and what I wanted because I forgot to ask that question.
Mm. I love that you said that. So many people who I cross paths with, including my old self, I didn't know what I wanted anymore
Mhm.
because we tend to disconnect from ourselves and keep ourselves so busy and there's a lot of parental and societal expectations to do things a certain way for a lot of people, not everybody. And that doesn't always match up with what we want. Like
Mhm.
at some point, I don't, I'll just use the sandbox. Like at some point, I receive messaging that I need to be responsible and do this and do that. And play didn't fall into anything that I was being told I should do. And it's
Exactly.
so important to come back to ourselves and enjoy life and do the things that like our heart and our soul are begging
Mhm.
us for.
Yeah, and I feel like I've making that connection with myself was something that was super profound as well during this trip. So like not only am I working on like the parts that feel sticky, but you're also nurturing the parts of you that need to be nurtured as well, you know? Like that child that child Cassie needed that nurturing, and I
Yeah.
didn't know it, and I wouldn't have known it had I not taken the space to just step away for a minute,
Yeah.
step away from reality, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of
Yeah.
stepping away, I don't know if you'll have an opinion on this one, but I had a few people, they said, well, why Costa Rica? Like, why can't we just do this, locally in a hotel conference room? And so, do you have any thoughts on that?
Of course, yes. I loved the location of Costa Rica, and I think that it wouldn't have been the same had it not been at Costa Rica. Like, there was just something about the vibes there, the landscape. It was just so beautiful. Like, you're sitting on the beach and there's these huge rocks that you're looking out at, all these like beautifully colored boats. Like, the sand was just soft and the water was warm and like you could just float on it. I don't know. Like, there's just so many things that I that I could describe to you that made Costa Rica really special and make me want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just creates a space for healing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I couldn't agree more. I felt called to go to Costa Rica. I knew that because I'd been there before from a nervous system perspective, that it would feel like a really good reset and that it would feel different than even going to a beach here. And it did.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. It's different from the East Coast Florida beaches. I've never been to the West Coast, but it's a different environment. And you see a bunch of wildlife around you. Something I really enjoyed was just walking from the beach. Like, we literally, our Airbnb was on the beach, and I got to walk out of our fence and just go like a block to the left or a block to the right. And there was restaurants like on the beach. And so I enjoyed just like going to get a cup of coffee and a delicious smoothie in
Yeah.
the morning. And that was like a treat for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so nice.
Was there anything else that you really loved or that were like your favorite parts of the retreat?
Yeah, so I would say the catamaran ride was one of my favorite parts. That was just a fun connection. Like, I could not believe that I had reeled in that fish. It was like a blackfin tuna,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I reeled in a fish. We were all just like on a high that day, I feel
Mhm.
like. And I reeled in this fish. I got blood all over my white dress, but I did not care. He like sprayed me down. And then he cut it up and we ate it as sashimi, which was like so, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like, whoa, I caught this fish. Now we're eating it. We're listening to a bunch of fun music. And Megan had like overcome her fear of going into the water, and
Yeah.
just like witnessing like all of these breakthroughs was also a huge for me too. Like, that was just so fun. And then some of the girls, bonding while snorkeling, like, that was awesome. The
Hmm.
breath work sessions were amazing. I'm trying
Hmm.
to like get
Yeah.
like collected into this box, but it was just like so many things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The catamaran, I put it about the halfway mark in the retreat as a reset. Like, we've been diving really deep. We've been doing the heavy inner work and the connection, and let's like play
Yeah.
and see what
Yeah.
happens. And I remember at the end of the day, we were reflecting and watching the video that Ari put together, and we were like, how did all of this happen in a day?
Yeah.
Because we had a morning inner work session and then the catamaran. And yeah, I love that you mentioned it because it wasn't even on my mind right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think that having that break and that fun piece in the middle was like one of my favorite parts. And then I mentioned those breathwork sessions, and those were really intense.
Mm.
And these are not your typical breathwork sessions.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking, how is the breathwork session like one of your favorite parts? Like, trust me, it's not what you think.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to say more about it?
Yeah, sure. Yes, I will. So, another surprising thing was these breathwork sessions because you like fully oxygenate your body and this helps release emotions. And we did two different sessions and they're 30-minute sessions. So they were a long time. And I was like, how are we going to do breath work for 30 minutes? This
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I felt like after the first one, I was like, it was euphoric in a
Mm.
way. Like, I went into this like yoga flow and I was like, dang, this feels really good. Like, I released my emotion. Like, I'm feeling great. And then the second one was even more crazy because at the end for that one, I had this like awareness of all these emotions that have been stuffed down for a long time and they had built up and then finally like came out
Mm.
at the end of our breathwork session and I was like literally sobbing and it was like a release, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't like a bad, it was a good thing. So
Letting it
I
out.
was
Yeah.
I was letting it out and I felt like I had space to let it out. And there was this moment where all of these flowers just gushed onto the pool deck. It was the most cathartic moment
Mhm.
I could say I've had in my life. It was insane. And it was like almost the universe was crying with me and like holding me.
Yeah.
And I had never felt something like that before.
No. And I'm getting a little teary eyed for those who are just listening because it was really, really beautiful and symbolic. And I felt the same way like, this is support from the universe, this is support from God. I was kneeling down next to you. You were releasing, releasing, releasing. And all of a sudden, I have full body goosebumps right now. All of these yellow flowers. Now, this did not happen at maybe,
At any other point of the
I don't think it
retreat.
happened at any other point the 5 days that
No.
we were there. And all of a sudden, just gushing at the same time as you to where the entire back, and this is like a huge area, was covered in yellow flowers.
Yeah, I think you had said you just cried flowers out of the sky.
I think I did. Yeah. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
might be hard to imagine if you weren't there, but it really was beautiful. And I also felt like it was confirmation of the release.
Hmm.
And like, you did it. And look at the
Hmm.
beauty of being willing to go there. And
Hmm.
Cassie, when I think back to you, I'm trying to think what year we met. Maybe it was 2023, I think. Just
Yeah, 22 or
22.
23. Yeah,
Yeah, either way,
one of those years. Yeah.
the difference, the changes that you've made, who you were at the retreat, it shocked me. Like, you just were so willing to
Mm.
go there, to feel it, to talk about things that I didn't anticipate you being open about. And I wanted to give
Hmm.
you credit for that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's not easy to be vulnerable, but once you understand like what you're going to get out of it, you just need to go there, you know?
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Absolutely. I know there are people in the community who are going to be listening or who have even thought about coming to Bravecation before.
Hmm.
Maybe they're
Hmm.
on the fence. Maybe they're just scared because of the unknown. And I know many of them probably relate to the old you who struggled a lot with anxiety. Is there anything that you would want them to know?
Yes. So for me personally, there was a point in my life that brought a lot of shame to the Cassie now. And I needed to get past that point and to kind of let go. So if you have something that you need to let go of, this is for you. And trust me, like I've done other things, like I've done talk therapy. And I felt like with Bravecation, we had a chance to almost like practice in real life the changes that we wanted to make. And when you're just sitting one on one in a room with just one other person, it's hard to practice those things. But you would call us out sometimes and in a good way, you know?
Yeah.
So we can kind of start to recognize, oh, this is the pattern. This is my pattern, you know?
Mm,
And so that was really good. Also, like, if you're feeling alone, you are going to feel held and comforted in this retreat. If you're ready to have space for yourself, or if you feel like you need your own space and you're like bogged down by life, I would say this is a good thing for you because it'll allow you that space to get to know yourself and actually have make some unexpected connections as well. So I think that's also a good reason to go. There's a lot of reasons to go, but those are just a few of them.
yeah, that are top of mind. I love that you
Mhm.
pointed out the difference between something that you've done in the past, talk therapy, and the retreat, because you're right. And you validated it. I will do it in the most loving way, but I also don't step over things. I show
Yeah.
people and I don't gloss over, I mean, sometimes accidentally, but because I'm human, but my intention is always to show the mirror so that you can overcome the thing. And we experience hardship and trauma in relationship and we heal in relationship. And a retreat
Hmm.
gives you that.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then I also felt like we could be there for one another as well. When some people didn't see the beauty in themselves, we saw it in them. And we could like validate them in like what they were feeling. And I think that's also a huge part of it too. Like some one other person can validate you and talk therapy, but like when you have a whole group of women validating you and like telling you like this is your experience, like it's okay to feel this way, that's a different experience.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I
Hmm.
remember your excitement leaving and just your energy being so different. Is there anything else that you wanted to share that I didn't ask about?
I would say the thing that I needed to say that was making my throat close up was the best thing that could have happened to me. I was basically like, I just did the thing finally. And now I feel like my relationship is just so much better. I feel like I can be myself and I'm stepping into my own power and that just feels really good. And I feel a lot more safe in myself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on today, Cassie, and sharing your story.
Of
I-
course. Thank you for having me. It's been so fun to just recollect all of the fun memories that we had.
Yes, it really has. I want to share one other thing that happened unrelated to doing the inner work, but so we had, I think about 11 women at Bravecation. And so everybody's witnessing back to her business. They're all witnessing how fit Cassie is, how strong she looks, and the changes that they have seen in me as well. And everyone was so excited to hear more about how can I work with you and how can I get into your program? I want to look as strong as you do. I want to be able to do a pull up on a catamaran. And that was unexpected for me, but so exciting for them just to see the value of your work beyond anything that you even mentioned or brought to the retreat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also something that I did not expect either. And I wasn't like even really talking about it. And then Steph kept saying, like, oh, you guys like should join. And then after the retreat, almost all of them joined
Yeah.
and now are in my program. And I was like, oh my God, I did not expect that. And I think that happened with a lot of us.
You come in expecting one thing and you'll get far beyond that
Yeah.
and things that you never expected.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I can think of like several others where the same thing kind of happened. One of the girls is like now writing her own poems and like Another girl is like writing her own songs. And it's just like kind of like pushes you to that next step that you need to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so, if anybody is curious about working out with Cassie and getting trained, I'll link it in the show notes so that you can
Yeah.
follow her and get fit.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. We have another 3-month program coming up here. So,
beautiful.
yeah, it'll be perfect timing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Steph. It was a pleasure.